So keeping the spirits high and everything, let's just welcome our next speaker for the day, Mr. Rajat Gupta. Mr. Rajat Gupta, Manager, Human Resource Manager of Flipkart. Sir would be sharing his opinions on management career perspectives. Sir has 14 years of experience in consulting and e-commerce firms like Manpower Services, which is the part of Fortune 500, Snapdeal, Carvey, and Flipkart. His expertise lies in manpower planning, recruitment, and resource allocation. He is a master in creating new channels of hiring and streamlining and process. We welcome you, sir.
So again, hi everyone. Hope everybody is doing safe while during these unprecedented times of pandemic, and hope you and your loved ones are in best of health. Right? I hope for that. Again, like there was an introduction that was given from my perspective, having 14 plus years of experience. So again, taking things forward from there only. So I have somewhat 14 plus years of experience that ranges across from consulting firms to e-commerce organizations like Snapdeal, Carvey, and Flipkart, right? And in all these 14 years, in the beginning of my career, as in good 6 years plus, I was part of the consulting firms, where actually I got an opportunity to work with multiple industries, multiple organizations, got an opportunity to understand about their operations also, not just from an hiring perspective, because these were all talent acquisition consulting firms, not just from a primarily, but not just from a uh, talent acquisition perspective, but from the perspective of their operations also. So got an opportunity to understand various departments, various industries in that profile, and I'm still using those knowledge which I got, or experiences what I got in my early career in designing the strategies or the programs what are helping our industry as of now, or my organization as of now. So as you guys are also beginning your career or beginning on a journey of your career, so I would not like to, uh, let's say, call you as students. Now I would talk to you as budding professionals, right? And as budding professionals in your respective fields or in a program like BBA, my suggestion for you would be that it's best to start as early as possible. When I say best to start as early as possible, then I mean that we need to start making our choices with reference to the industries we want to be a part of, with reference to the companies we want to be associated with reference to the roles that might excite us as of now, or that might excite us during our duration of 3 years during this courses. And not just the excitement, but would these roles be actually taking us to a place where we would like to reach in our career? And the most important question, what should I do now? How should I prepare myself uh, for me to be ready to grab one of those roles, which would help me in designing and taking me forward in my career prospects? So if you can just move forward. And in case if anybody has a question, they can stop me, raise their hands, and ask those questions also. And maybe we can have a question and answer session at the end of the session. That all depends on you. So
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Actually, the chat is disabled for the students, so they can only direct the
they can,
questions to us.
okay, yeah, they can call it out. No worries.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So coming into a course like BBA, so what bird's eye view or the prima facie, what all career choices usually most of us might be going into is either one of the post graduation courses. It might be an MBA or some other professional course. There would be some percentage of professionals that might want to join their business, family businesses. Somebody would want to start their entrepreneurial journey or start their own ventures, right? And some of you might opt to go for a job, have a couple of years of experience, and then most probably go for a post graduation course. That all depends, right? And then there are streams that are available: marketing, sales, human resources, business and finance and accounts, project management, supply chain operations. Now if I talk about in a brief, if I talk about marketing and sales, these are two profiles which are actually used synonymous to each other, but they are not. There's a lot of difference between a marketing and a sales. A lot of people, while during their academic years, are interested in a role or a profile like marketing, but actually end up being into sales only, right? But the right idea, if somebody is actually interested in a marketing kind of a profile, then people should start on their research work and get on towards, or let's say, aspire to get into any of the agencies that are into the marketing field. Agencies like an Ogilvy or Mather, or some new agencies also that are there into the marketing. That might not excite you with reference to the remuneration to begin with, but then again, the kind of experience you get, like I got my experience during my consulting days, that is really helping me in designing the things or in my growth prospects, that would be beneficial. Sales, again, a topic of research, because there's going to be a multiple industry where sales are involved, whether it's going to be a direct sales, whether it's going to be a sales through channels, that all depends, and it's actually a very vast topic. Human resource, somebody who might be getting into, let's say, a medium term organization or a medium level organization. People get to experience in the beginning of the career, that is, people get to experience or have an exposure into multiple aspects of human resources. They get to have an exposure where they are handling the entire life cycle of a particular employee: talent acquisition, HR operations, business partnering, L&D. In some organization, that's part of HR only. But while you look for bigger organization or the corporates, everything gets diversified. There's a separate COE function that looks into, or Center of Excellence function that looks into talent acquisition or recruitments. There is a separate function that look into business partnering. There's a separate function that looks into people operations, or let's say running of the payroll also. Just L&D is a separate function, right? Finance and accounts, again, two terms which are used synonymous with each other. There's a world of difference between the two. Finance has nothing to do with accounts. It's a part of it, actually. Accounts is a part of finance, but then again, finance, while we look into the treasury kind of functions, or bringing down the resources, that's a different ball game altogether. Then there are streams like project management, supply chain operations, specifically supply chain operations. That's one of the reasons why e-commerce as an industry has grown, because that's the USP of why people would be ordering online, and they can get those products or services within a time frame of 24 to 48 hours, regardless of where they are based out at, right? Operations. Now, operations is a term which can be different, as in it can be different in nature for different industries. For example, manufacturing kind of a setup. Operations is all about manufacturing the products that it's going to be offering directly into the marketing or through some other channel, right? Telecom, it's about setting up the telecom infrastructure, which might enable a person sitting at the last mile to utilize those resources efficiently. So the whole idea of telling you this is, as it's best to start as early as possible and to fix your streams where you would like to build your career into, right? These are all diversified fields, and most of our choices, what we let's say make during our early years, it's most of the things are actually based on the emotions rather than the data. Can we move on to the next slide? Yeah, again, just like the profiles we would be interested in, or we would be interested in a particular job or a business aspect, we also need to choose the kind of industry that would excite us, right? Retail, hospitality, travel, tourism, these are industries which recruit a lot of people on an annual basis, although currently they are badly hit with reference to this COVID outbreak. But then again, they are. E-commerce again was one of the growing industries, and due to the advent of this COVID, somehow it has actually beneficial to the e-commerce organizations, where the business has grown multiple folds. People are not preferring to go out in the market and actually preferring to order anything, be it the FMCG products, the FMCD products, any kind of services what they can get, at the comfort of their homes or in the offices if they are if their offices have started already, right? So these are the industries which people can get into, and these are the just a few names what I could think of while I was preparing this presentation. There might be multiple other industry segments also, right? Not just an industry segments that's doing good as of now, but considering that you would be beginning your professional journey in the next 3 to 5 years or 6 years time frame, then what kind of industries you think would be a sunshine industry at that point in time? That would be the question you would really want to answer as of now. And again, coming back to the same point, that most of our decisions are based on the emotions rather than research work or some kind of a data. So here I'll quote an example. So sometime back, I was speaking with one of our younger members in the family, where they had suggested or discussed that they would want to be a part of hospitality industry. So nothing wrong in it. If their interest lies, they can go forward and be a part of that industry. But out of curiosity, when I asked, as in why would he or she particularly want to be a part of hospitality industries only, right? So the background of this is that some of the relatives or some of the people actually owns up restaurants, or I'd say hotels in family, right? So what they have seen is all the glamorous side of it. What they have seen is the shiny side of it as a customer, as a person who's known to the owners of that particular food chain, right? But then again, I decided to date that particular individuals through my contacts, and we visited several restaurants and one of the few five-star hotels also. And I took him in the background, right? So somebody who would have some kind of an idea about hospitality is that everybody needs to start at the bottom of the pyramid, right? Let's say housekeeping or somebody working out or helping in the kitchen. So these are the typical profiles somebody needs to get into if you don't have a jack, while to get into the hospitality industry, right? And if I talk about a five-star hotel, then there is a high possibility somebody getting into that kind of a profile might not be able to see the glossy side of things, or visit the actual property of the five-star resort on a number of days, right? To quote an example, the HR head of a particular five-star hotel is actually based out in a small room in a basement. Now all this I'm sharing with you, and after those visits, after seeing the actual things what is happening, the decision was somewhat shaken in nature. Now this example is not to demoralize anybody or stating that hospitality is not the one of the best industries to go into, but yes, it's just on the basis that while we are deciding on our careers or the streams we might be choosing, people should research enough before raising their hand and saying, "Ki boss, I would be a part of that particular group or a company or a section," right? Not just on the basis of emotions, but the basis of data. There are several mechanisms through which we can do our research, primary and secondary. During your course, I am sure there would be certain projects that you guys might be taking with reference, where you would be doing the survey jobs on for any particular organization, or the concepts you would be working on, right? There you would get a chance to actually do those kind of research. So please do that. It's very important, rather than taking an emotional decision or on the basis of peer pressure because of my friends are taking that stream, so it's best for me also. It all depends on a person to person. There's no direct answer to it. And one of the best questions, once you have somewhat decided on the kind of channel you want to pursue, or the kind of companies you might want to work with going forward, if you have not done it already, and there's a big if, the best question arises is what I should do to prepare myself to be ready for that industry or be ready for that role. What can I do in these 3 years of my time, which usually most of the people, and in fact, I'll quote my example also, somewhat that graduation days somewhat goes for a waste, right? People think that, okay, we might get serious into uh, post-graduation kind of a course, but these are the years you would not like to miss while your professional journey begins as professionals. Can we move on? And if I'm not clear, if I'm going too fast, please call it out. If you have any specific queries with reference to something, please call it out. Right. So as a budding professional, what should I do that would help me? Uh, just click on next, as in the data should also be visible. Yeah, that would help me in my career. One thing is the basic principle: the skill development should never stop. People should always be looking forward to add on to their competencies while they are studying and while they are in academics, while they are working for any of the organizations. Somebody who is started his entrepreneurial journey, for them it's actually for utmost importance. Somebody who's working in the family business also, but the skill development should never stop. You should always be a better person the next year, the next month, the next decade of what you were currently, what you were maybe in that whole course. So one is that considering the dynamics of the ever-changing world and the ever-changing corporate industries, we need to always update our IT skills or the technical skills. And one of the very basic things that's available in front of us, the most important or strong tool that's available with us is MS Office. Now, during my career for over a decade, I've interviewed people mostly from all kind of institutes, be it the IIMs, the IITs, the tier 2, tier 3 kind of institutes, graduation colleges, be it from Delhi University or somewhere else. And 99.9% of the cases, every resume what we interview, or not just the freshers or somebody coming out of the college, but people who have spent years in their professional courses or professional careers, every resume claims that people are proficient in MS Office. And you would be surprised to know that not even 1% of the people are actually proficient in MS Office. People write it, people copy it from somewhere, add in their particular resumes, but the kind of programs this MS Office actually offers us, the Excel, Access, micro, the PowerPoint presentations, just to name a few, right? These are very heavy tools. These are very powerful tools, not just with reference to easing our jobs, as in making a 1 hour job, me giving an opportunity to complete it in another 5 minutes time frame with the kind of formulas that are already inbuilt, helping me out in analyzing my data stream, or let's say changing my data to information that's there, but also give us a great opportunity to present those data in a corporate boardroom or in front of the management to get those things passed. That is very important. So it's not just about typing in Excel or using the basic formula like VLOOKUP and everything, which most of the people are aware of these days, but it has lots to do with data analytics, which is one of the very few things or very few pointers on which industries have gone, not just the organization, the industry. In fact, e-commerce, which we are part of as of now, is one of the industry which have actually gone through the route of data analytics only. Where is the market growing in the next 10 years? How is the market functioning as of now? Which are the best selling products? Which are the products the company should invest into? Are the marketing channels or the sales channels what we employing as of now giving us the best results? Or we need to invest in something which are giving better results, but that's not a focus of the organization as of now. So all those things are very important, right? So these are the best 3 years if you are not already a good, let's say very good or good in MS Office. These are the years where you can invest yourself and get some idea about what all features that are available. And that would not only help you in completing or completion of your projects, or let's say in completion of your case studies that you would be going through, but that would help you primarily once you join any particular organization, and even you're working for yourself, right? Now, a salesman mindset. Again, quoting an example. Now, this has nothing to do with sales as a career, because in the beginning of my career also, I was somewhat bit of apprehensive going or nominating myself for a sales kind of a profile where most of the organization coming into our campus were offering the roles into. But during my career days, during my while I was working and while doing an introspection, an internal introspection, I realized that every one of us is actually a salesman. We are doing sales in our daily life. For example, the institute which you are a part of must have done some kind of a sales or would have sold you an idea that this is one of the institute or this is one of the better choices uh, where you can begin your professional journey, and that would help you as a stepping stone getting into the kind of career you want to get into. Right? You, on the other hand, would have sold them an idea of, while if they are ready to enroll you as a student or a budding professional as of now, then it would be better for their institute also. What kind of new things, or let's say going forward, once you grow in your organization, that's going to be one of your pointers, one of the pointers for the institute also, that people passed out of the institute have reached to a particular level. So you would have sold yourself, your idea. Somebody or many of you might have sold an idea of realizing your parents that investing in an iPhone is the best decision they would want to take for their sons or daughters, right? So everybody is doing a sales job, and the most important part is the communication. Now, with communication, I doesn't mean that somebody needs to be proficient in a particular language. That most of us might be still, for most of us, it might be still a foreign language, that is English. But the communication of effectively making your point to the next person or the person who's listening to you, right? That's an important aspect. You might choose any language that you feel comfortable in. It might be English, Hindi, or any of the regional languages. The only idea is the person who's the recipient there should be able to get the overall idea or the overall picture. And one of the things that we miss out in while speaking is the art of learning. We need to develop the art of learning and not just hearing. While there's a debate, most of the people are actually looking forward or hearing things just with the perspective of responding. But that's not the idea. We need to listen, understand the perspective, and then act accordingly. Never be in a hurry. And the other aspect of this communication part is the storytelling. Storytelling, not with reference to giving somebody the running through somebody through a story of, let's say, a Cinderella or the Seven Dwarfs, but yes, storytelling with reference to selling the whole idea, selling the whole concept. People should relate to the kind of communications you are trying to make. People should relate those communications with their own stories, with their own life experiences. That is what storytelling is all about. So, although it's a very vast subject even in itself, the storytelling, but this is one of the few things that we or you as budding professionals should start your journey into, right? Start connecting with people. Yes, of course, the basic concepts, those should be very much clear. So please, although it's very easier said than done, but please be attentive, because I have also, as a professional, as a student, or as a budding professional also, we had various challenges with reference to the concentrations or anything like that. But once I started my job, then I realized a lot of concepts which are told in my graduation or post graduation days actually made sense while we were working, not just with reference to our day to day operations, but with reference to selling those ideas also to the management. It's very important how we present something what we have prepared as a concept, as a program, as a new design, right? So these are all professional terminology. Somebody would have written a book, would have done a lot of research with reference to how things happen in industries or in companies, right? Basis that several concepts were penned down for us to utilize or build upon our knowledge, right? So the basic concept clarity should be given utmost importance. Yes, it would be a best idea what concepts you learn during your academics year or during your BBA program, it's best that you find internships or case studies, or you do research related to those concepts. The idea is not just read about it or learn about it, implement it, have a better understanding, right? If somebody is interested in a sales or a marketing kind of a program or a human resource, would you be able to get or secure some internship during your course itself, where you can get a hands-on experience on the or on implementing the concepts what you are learning as of now, or you would be learning in the coming days, right? So try and solve the case studies, get the case studies through secondary sources, through your guides, professors, teachers, right? Get those case studies, try and implementing those concepts. That would be very important, right? And you would see, once you start your professional journey in companies, you would see that those are the things you are actually helping you in shining out in your profiles. That's what I can say, right? And most important of them all, have an entrepreneurial mindset. Don't treat any of the case studies or internship or as your job ever in your career, that it's just a job or a way to earn my living. No, have an entrepreneurial mindset means you own up that job. You make sure that it aligns with the overall objective of the organization, or what we are trying to achieve, what kind of services what we are trying to give in the market to our customers, or what kind of financials we would want to achieve for the current financial year or the coming years, also what kind of level what we want to reach. So be part of that, or try to see that overall picture, overall objective, and then try and imagine your own job or your own profile, how that is actually enabling you to meet the objectives and the objectives of the organization overall, whether it's your own organization or the organization you would be a part of, doesn't matter. But have that entrepreneurial mindset, own up that job, right? And over the period of time, once you have that, you would see people would have similar kind of perceptions about you. The reliability factor will pitch in, and that's where the growth starts. Once you start looking at the bigger picture, not just your role, and to put it in the bare language, not just your role of your job or the role of your boss also, or your skip level manager also, right? Participate on the events, the fest that you organize. That would give you a lot of insights and a lot of working experience uh, in a job role like a project management. And any of the jobs you would be going into, project management would be a part of it. Always, that's will always be there, right? One of the few mistakes that I have seen, and in fact, again, I'm one of the prime examples. What I have done is try people treat their colleges or the institutes at placement agencies. They are not. You need to own up things. Somebody who's working in the training and placement cells, they're just there working as guides for you. It's you who are who should be the people who are going out in the market, inviting colleges, inviting fellow colleges, or inviting companies to the events, inviting companies to the placement drive that are happening, connecting with people in the organization, finding mentors from industry. They might help you in several concepts or several stages in their learning program through the experience what they have already got from the organization and the industry they are working for, right? So that's of primus importance, I think. We should stop treating these colleges as a placing agencies and start owning up things. In fact, while I have my experience in uh, recruitments or talent acquisition from top B schools also, like the likes of IITs or the IIMs, right? There, all these cells are there, but it's the students who are driving all these programs. I'm sure I just joined in 5 minutes early before my session was starting. The kind of groups, right, that you guys have already created, or the clubs that you are already created, it would be best to be a part of those clubs for the activities that excite you, or you think you can do well. Get the membership of those clubs. Try and participate as much as possible, and ask questions at every stage of your life. Growth will only happens when we accept the very fact that yes, we don't know this, and then we start asking questions. Till the time we have an attitude wherein Okay, I know a lot of things. Uh, what else I could learn? Then the growth stops. So always assume and always be focused on a point that the only logical question or a stupid question was a question you never asked. Please feel free to ask any questions, regardless of any kind of pressure you might be into. And again, I'm coming back to that same point. These are these are the 3 years that's going to be act as a stepping stone of your professional careers, right? In any of the industries or streams that you might be going into, have an optimum and the maximum usage of these 3 years. A lot of people, including myself, end up actually wasting those profiles due to a number of things. But yes, with the right focus, we would be able to do it. These are the 3 years where you can add a lot of skill sets, a lot of competencies in your profiles, right? So besides me talking about a lot of things with reference to IT or the communication part, the basic concepts, clarity, internship, still there's going to be a lot of pressure, and there would be a lot of challenges that we as professionals, as people, as individuals would face, that might hinder us actually in our participations or getting into the research kind of programs. Can we move on to the next program, next slide? So what are these bottlenecks? What are these bottlenecks? The biggest bottleneck is your mindset. We need to change that. Now, I've put up a picture of an elephant just to draw an analogy, wherein an elephant, while you might have, some of you might have gone on a safari also, or if you can imagine people going out in safaris and coming face to face with an elephant there, right? So most of the people, or most of us, or let's say all of us, might not be able or comfortable in going near to that elephant, because we are aware that there is a threat to our life also if we cross a boundary. On the contrary, if we go to a particular circus or zoo, we might not be that worried. Okay? Why? It's the same elephant. The dimensions, the size, it's going to be same. That basic instinct or the basic nature of that animal would be the same. But still, we would be very comfortable going near to that. If even if near to our homes, if a person is coming for an elephant ride, we might easily get onto that elephant and enjoy the ride, right? What's the difference? The difference is the mindset of that particular animal, right? In that wild, in that jungle, that elephant or that animal is actually free, and we are aware that can bring us into a life-threatening position also. But in a zoo, in a circus, the mindset of that elephant has totally changed. It has totally changed. Now there's a chain which that particular animal is attached to, and he's not able to break free. He's not able to utilize his fullest potential. So again, driving inferences from that mindset itself, it's our own mindset who which actually suggests where we will be going towards a success or a failure or a mediocrity. That all depends, right? And there would be numerous distractions that would be coming in. The other day I was speaking with some students from other colleges also, so these all pointers that came in, or these keep coming up: the casual attitude, lack of seriousness, lack of concentration, right? High expectations, but there's a lot lack of implementation that happens on the ground. uh, Social life, during these years we would love to enjoy our social lives also, right? And most of the things that are being listed, I am one of the prime examples. I had everything, dealt with every kind of a problem that can be there: distractions, the casual attitude, the peer pressure, not just to enjoy the social life but in other aspects of life also. Had very high expectations from me, as in what else could people teach me, right? But the implementation part, somewhere I realize now, or while I do introspection of my years back in my academics, I realize now that those were the years we could have actually utilized those years in a better manner. I'm not saying you should not enjoy. These are one of the best years of your life, or gonna be the one of the best few years of your life while you go through this journey into the academics of a college or graduation or post graduation program. You should enjoy those at the fullest. But then again, the learning curve should never stop. That's the only message I'm trying to give here, right? And how we can actually get over these distractions. Can we move on to the next slide? So there are some rules I try to list it down for you. That one of the first rules: please listen to the faculty or the guru that's been assigned to you. As young individuals, it's very easy, and a lot of people I have seen carry around or carry an attitude. Okay, who else would know better than me, right? But that's not the case. Even if we look at examples of various famous personalities, be it some Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli. Now these are the people who have excelled in their field of jobs, or it be it sports or any other industry also, who have excelled. But still you would find glimpses over the media where they are actually, every time they do well, they thank their coaches. Now coach of Sachin Tendulkar, Ramakant, right, or Virat Kohli, Rajkumar. Now these are the people who are not that famous. They are famous because some of their students or some of the people they have coached have excelled in their fields. But still people are still in various aspects of their life, or once they achieve a particular milestone, you would see over the news also these people go and touch the feet of their gurus, going back, because these are the people who actually put you on a continuous learning curve. These are the people who takes you out of your comfort zone in your early days itself and put you in an uncomfortable situation, which initially uh, looks not that attractive, and people start avoiding their teachers also. I've seen multiple cases where people start avoiding. But then again, if we come out of our comfort zone and we follow the process that's been told, because these are the people who have years of experience into industry or academics, and through those years of experience they have known how to channelize energies or efficiency is the best possible manner, identifying your talents, right, channelizing your energies where you can actually build your own careers or lives out of it, right? Even if we look at our let's say epics like Mahabharata also. Now that tale could have also be easily told without the reference of their teacher Dronacharya. But the outmost important is it is required while various warriors were celebrated one of the best peoples of best warriors during those times, but it was not possible without a guru. Even somebody like an Eklavya that's there, he actually practiced on his own, but somewhere he idealized Dronacharya in a manner, uh, had his Pratima where he was actually practicing, and then streamlined all his energies into one particular direction. So follow the faculty guru. You might not be aligned with their thought process or the concepts as of now, but during the course of time, you would realize whatever that was told to you was in your benefit only. Again, focus on the first job of your career, because the first job that you're going to be choosing would be for most probably 90% of the time. There are some people who actually change their career streams also midway, and there's nothing wrong in it. But for most of the people, that's going to be a career for the next 30, 35, 40 odd years, right? And one of the basic challenges people usually face is what kind of so given a choice, what should be our what thing we should choose within an organization or profile. Now there might be a brand uh, offering you a job which you might not be interested in initially, but then again it's a brand. You would want to be associated with a organization, let's say like a Flipkart, or maybe some organization like an Apple or a Google for that matter, just to name a few. Or you might be getting a profile of your choice with an organization, might not be a brand with general public, right? So although there is not a direct answer to it, but I am always of a firm believer that an organization or a brand might help you uh, in a shorter duration, but it's actually the profile people should aim for. What kind of learning you might want to get in those initial years that would help you securing a brand at a later stage. Again, an example which I was quoting earlier. While a lot of people or some of the people might be interested in a profile like marketing, which is very different from a sales kind of a profile. Now, the best area or the best companies to learn for that marketing field is the agencies. Now, somebody who wants to get into an agency, you people might not be getting the best of the remuneration, but the kind of experience you would get in the initial years, the first 3, 4, 5 years, that would enable you to get a secure or let's say to get a decent enough profile with a decent enough brand, because that's where all the learning happens. Organizations, the topmost organizations, they actually believe in outsourcing most of the profile or most of the jobs which are not core to their business, and that's where these agencies come in. Not just marketing. If somebody wants to get into a finance kind of a role, then there are agencies or consultancies like the big fours, the ENYs, the PwCs of the world, right? Somebody who would want to get into an HR kind of, then there are a lot of agencies that help you out in those kind of profiles. Hewitt, Manpower Services for that matter, right? Smaller organizations that might be giving you an opportunity to learn different aspects of any particular job profile. But then again, it's your decision to choose whether to go for a brand initially or whether to learn first and then go for a profile. And yes, the thumb rule is uh, be on a continuous journey of your development. It never stops. Even after a decade in industry or 14 years in industry, it's still going forward. And please move forward. And one of the best aspects is the right attitude. Have a learning attitude. Have an attitude where you want to own up the task, right? But then again, with all this gyan, one thing is that these are the best years. Try and utilize it to the maximum, and don't forget to enjoy. Thank you.